which is the lowest side effect. So the cornerstone is to do good moisturizer. Also, you have before laser to avoid certain issues. As regard, for example, you have to avoid some exposure. And whenever you are in need of some exposure, you have to apply for sunscreen creams to avoid the bad effects of the sun. Yes. Second of all, after avoiding the sun, you have to avoid, for example, any irritants to your skin. As regard for the women, the cosmetic irritants, you have to avoid also. Okay. Also, you have to avoid removal of the hair with the ordinary ways, right? Like waxes and threading and all these methods, the ordinary, because it removes the hair completely with its pulp. So there is nothing to do with laser at that time. So you have to only, the allowance is to remove with razor blade, only razor blade, okay? So this as regard before laser, the instructions.
Here we get to see some of the rushes on the screen that we have, I think, as you're talking about. There are two ways of removing the hair, one from the surface and one from deep beneath the surface as we get to look at it. And we get to see that laser is really gaining tremendous popularity, not only here in Saudi Arabia, but all around the world, as we get to see that most of the people in the pursuit of beauty or lasting beauty for a while, free of any kind of facial hair, are opting towards laser hair removal. And at the same time, it's not only for women, but as for men too. And as earlier in the program, we were talking about investments and businesses, we get to see that beauty centers and beauty clinics are really, really very lucrative avenues for investment all over the world, because there is such a big surge of beauty currently, and everybody is really in search of beauty, willing to spend anything which is out of the ordinary in order to have a little better quality of skin, in order to have hair-free skin, in order to have beautiful glowing skin for men and for women, because gone are the days when women were the only people looking for beauty, but nowadays I think men want it equally as well. But this, Dr. Íhab, tell us a little bit more. We have the rushes running on the screen, but we will continue our discussion with you. How important is the retouching with laser? How many times is it that we need to do it and we do the sessions again and again with the retouch sessions?
Okay, but please let me finish the instructions after the laser, as I told you before. What's important is after you finish your laser session, whenever you find any redness, you have to seek for cold compresses for the next few hours, 10 minutes to 1 hour, until complete disappearance of this redness. If not disappear, you have to ask your qualified doctor to prescribe certain creams, which mostly of corticosteroid. After that, we will discuss with you the issue, as you said, retouch. Definitely, retouch is something we have to clarify, because some people seek session and retouch as a routine work. Indeed, this is a very wrong manipulation. Why? Retouch will increase the dryness and will increase the incidence for side effect, which superficial burns, which could end with pigmental changes, which is very troublesome to most of the clients, because it could stay for few months up to sometimes longer. So, what is the instinct of retouch? To do regular sessions with at least 4 to 8 weeks interval. Why this interval? Because we have to respect the phases of hair growth cycle. As all of us know, the hair goes through phases: the anagen phase or the growth phase, and followed by catagen and detergent. The anagen is the phase which responds to laser, while the other two phases is less responding to laser. For this reason, we have to follow additional sessions, because at the same time, all over the body, there is different rates of hairs in different phases of the hair growth. Okay, but whenever the practitioner miss any area of your body, not touching with laser, you can seek for retouch, but not regularly as done now. Some women, after 7 to 10 days, could find appearance of hair over the skin. This hair is not a new hair loss, but the treated hair, which in its way to fall down by itself. So this is very important, because most women, after finishing the session, will see sometimes growth of hair. This hair is the treated hair, and here is a mistake. So some people, when find this hair, seek for retouch. So retouch shouldn't be done on a routine basis. Retouch only for areas missed to be treated with it.
Yeah, Dr. Ehab, as we'll talk about, it's different sessions, like it's one by one. And it might take some long term depending on the skin of the patient.
Yes.
How important is it to keep the hair, not to remove the hair with any hair removal tool? Is it so important, or is it okay to remove?
Okay. The sessions will be done as initial sessions, which will take from 3 to 6 sessions in most of the people doing laser. But maintenance sessions will be done maybe yearly to maintain the results. So laser is not for permanent hair removal. It is temporary, but long term. Temporary, so the better statement should be laser hair treatment and not permanent laser hair removal.
Yes.
Indeed. So tell us, Dr. Ehab, I mean, the laser treatment is for hair removal, or it's, as you mentioned, that it's not permanent.
Yes.
So does that mean that laser hair removal treatments would at least slow down the growth of the hair?
Definitely. It slowed it down. Because, as I mentioned before, the hair has phases. The anagen, the catagen, the telogen, and another new anagen. So it's a circle. What we are going to do, we are pushing the hair in the anagen to go into the telogen. So to prolong the period of new hair to appear. Because what is the manifestations of a good laser, for example? Good laser means 4 things. First, the thickness of the hair will be less and less while repeating the sessions. The color will become lighter and lighter and lighter. The density of the area will be little by repeating the sessions. And the last is the time for new hair to appear. It will be much more longer.
And Dr. Ehab, what is the relationship maybe between the hair removal and after the removal there will be too many dots as we see in the body? Sometimes it's even it doesn't work.
You know
The hair pulls, yeah. And sometimes it's getting bigger and sometimes it's small. Is there a relationship maybe the laser might affect that?
But sometimes after laser sessions, this hair pulse is getting improved. But this is not regularly with the laser for hair removal. Another types of laser can help this problem to disappear. Much better than the laser for hair removal.
And the process of removing the hair, is it helpful maybe to lighten the skin, make it
okay, on the contrary, it might make the reverse. Meaning what? Whenever there is any dryness of the skin and there is redness or superficial burn, this will eventually end with pigmentary changes, meaning darkening, I mean. So, especially for those people with dark complexion. People with dark complexion or do not follow the instructions we mentioned before will be easily prone to have pigmentary increase, but not lightening of the skin pigmentation.
So it's just a myth that some of the people believe that laser sessions would also lighten the skin, or perhaps maybe from the superficial layer of the skin when some of the excessive hair are removed, maybe it's going to reveal the actual skin of a person without any hair, and maybe to the eyes, to some people it would look like the complexion is becoming fairer with the laser, but sometimes actually if the laser is not done in such an efficient and good way, and if you don't choose the right doctor, then sometimes you can have scarring or bad burns as well from laser, isn't it, doctor?
Yes, this is the point we have to stress upon. You have to seek for consultation with qualified doctor. This qualified doctor will, after the consultation, and he will see your skin type, your hair type, and will take the most important, the medical history. Because some people under special drugs shouldn't be eligible for laser, which, like what? Isotretinoin was a drug common in use for acne problems, for example. Or some women having hormonal problems, so should be medically investigated and medically managed parallel with laser sessions. So consultation is very important. He will, qualified doctor will decide the laser system, because laser system is not all of the same type. We have in the market laser systems which choose for lighter skin complexion, and another laser system for those with darker complexion. So this is very important to follow.
Yeah, Dr. إيهاب, let me ask you this last question because we're running out of time. You mentioned the skin dryness many times.
Yes.
Is it one of the side effects? What are some other side effects of doing this laser hair removal?
Okay, this is a very good question. Dryness is a very common encountered problem with laser. Laser, as I said to you, is a sort of heating. So heating will let us lose our water content in our cells. So by repeating laser, you will get easily dry. So we have to fight this dryness because it makes you prone to superficial burn, which could end with pigmentary changes. So dryness is very one of the most encountered side effects. We have to fight against it and to prevent, much better to prevent than to treat.
Indeed. And with this, Dr. Ehab, Khalid, would like to thank you so much for joining us in today's edition of the program.
Thank you.
And well, for all our dear viewers who have been watching this particular segment of the program, if you have got any questions pertaining to laser, if you're thinking about the pros and cons of doing laser, other than Googling all that information that you need, you can also write to us on the Saturday morning show if you want to get in touch with our expert, Dr. Ehab Khalid, and you want to have any queries from yourself answered by Dr. Ehab, feel free to write to us on our email, Facebook page, and interacting with us on Twitter. Now, for the moment, stay tuned as we are moving up next towards the report in the program. We'll be joining you after that. And well, remember, keep sending us your feedback, comments, and queries.